Hey guys, this is Noxealance, and recently I've had the chance to watch the new Devil May Cry animated series on Netflix. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, as a fan of the Devil May Cry games, I thought it was very bad.
Fool this man!
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I kinda saw that coming a mile away. Just try hearing me out first, alright? Now personally, I don't care if a video game adaptation is canon or not, the characters, world, and message of the game should be as close to the source material as possible, even if it's telling a new story. If it doesn't do that, then it's failed as an adaptation, because what's the point of adapting something if you're gonna ignore what made it appealing in the first place? And that's exactly why the show is so bad, because it takes what makes the game so appealing and charming and changes it in a way that completely strips it of those things. I could honestly go on and on about how the show utterly misrepresents Dante's character, how Lady's character and backstory is rewritten for the worse, or how the consistent cursing and references make me want to bang my head against the wall. But I'm not gonna do that. I'll probably save those topics for a future video if anything. Instead, I'm gonna go over what I believe to be the biggest issue of the entire show. It does a horrible job portraying the overarching message and theme of the Devil May Cry games. You see, the games really emphasize the importance of humanity and love. In the DMC universe, every demon is ruthless and self-centered by nature, craving power and influence above all else. However, although it's pretty rare, there are demons who are able to fight against their nature and learn to care about someone aside from themselves. The franchise's biggest and main example of this is a demon swordsman known as Sparta. Sparta was originally the right hand to Mundus, the ruler of the demon world. Mundus and his forces had invaded and took control of the human world, resulting in the suffering and death of many humans. Over time, Sparta came to care for the humans and came to recognize the wickedness of Mundus' reign over them. This led to Sparta single-handedly defeating Mundus and his army before sealing and separating the demon world from the human world. Sparta then later fell in love with a human woman named Eva who he had kids with, who turned out to be Dante and his twin brother Virgil. The franchise likes to emphasize that having love for others gives you the strength you need to live and keep fighting. Now compare that to Netflix's Devil May Cry, where a lot of the demons are just innocent people who want to escape the demon world because of how harsh the conditions there are. These demons even have families who they are willing to protect from both the demon world and the human world. You see, humans fear them and are willing to kill them just because they come from the demon world, even though they aren't evil like the other demons from their world are. The show tries to portray them as poor misunderstood creatures that just want to live their lives in peace. The show also tries convincing the audience that humans need to be more understanding and stop discriminating against the demons just because other members of the race have done horrible things.
You serious?
I honestly don't know what they were trying to accomplish by rating the demons to be refugees, but it's honestly pretty stupid. But what's especially stupid is that the show tries to explain that it's the stronger demons that are the malicious ones, while the weaker ones are just the ones that are trying to survive out in the world. I mean, come on, give me a break. They are demons. Why are you trying to make a race of creatures that are known for being evil sympathetic? And on top of that, why are you trying to make the humans, more specifically the humans from America, seem like the bad guys for wanting to kill them? This show has this character named William Baines, who happens to be the Vice President of America and a fanatical Christian. He's extremely intolerant of the demons and lacks any sympathy for people who die fighting them, viewing it as a necessary sacrifice ordained by God. The show makes it very clear that him and his anti-demon organization Darkholm are bad people and try to portray their eventual attack and invasion of the underworld as evil. I'm gonna ask this again because I am very confused and I really want an answer. Why are you trying to make humans seem bad for fighting against demons, a race of creatures who throughout history have been known for being evil, especially in an adaptation of Devil May Cry where 99% of demons are blatantly and unashamedly cruel and horrific beings? And that's not to say there shouldn't be evil humans. Heck, most of the main villains in Devil May Cry are humans. But the difference is, those villains actually reinforce the game's message about humanity and the importance of love. Unlike demons like Sparta, who are able to metaphorically gain humanity by fighting against their nature and learning to love, the human villains abandon their humanity in exchange for power, causing them to become more demonic. Actually, these characters are considered worse than demons because unlike demons who are naturally cruel creatures, these human characters are being evil because they want to. Take the villain Arkham from Devil May Cry 3, who sacrificed his own wife in order to gain demonic power and take control of the world. Even in the face of his own death, he doesn't see the sacrifice of his wife as wrong and even tries to justify his actions as a necessary act. Another example would be Sanctus from Devil May Cry 4, who led a group of Sparta worshippers known as the Order of the Sword on a mission to take over the world. He had planned to do this by summoning demons from the demon world to the human world and purging them before claiming to be the world's savior and taking it over. These villains lost because Dante and the protagonist of DMC4, Nero, were fighting for more than themselves. While Dante was fighting to protect the world he had grown up in and Nero was fighting to protect his love interest Kyrie, Arkham and Sanctus were only fighting for themselves and their selfish ideals. But instead of villains like Arkham and Sanctus who act as foils to the protagonists of their games, helping to emphasize the franchise's theme, in Netflix's Devil May Cry, we have villains like the White Rabbit and Barnes, who just emphasizes the show's basic and boring message of Americans and Christianity bad, refugee demons good. And I don't care what anyone says, making the only Christian character in the show someone who is willing to sacrifice anyone in the name of God is portraying Christians in an evil light. Especially since they could have easily added in another Christian character who acts as a foil to Barnes in that they don't agree with how Barnes tries to use God as an excuse for his bad actions. Sorry for that little tangent, I just felt like it was necessary to get that point across. Back to the topic at hand, I've already explained who Barnes is and how he helps push the show's boring message, but let me tell you about the show's other antagonist who also pushes the show's message. The character in question being the White Rabbit. The White Rabbit was originally a character in the DMC3 manga. However, I've never read the manga, so I have no idea how he's supposed to act, so my criticisms will be strictly tied to the show's interpretation of him. In the show, the White Rabbit was a human orphan that formerly lived on Earth with an abusive foster family. One day, a portal to the demon world had opened, which he willingly entered, only to be chased by a large demon. Luckily for him, he was saved by a friendly demon and was taken in by the demon's family. He had ended up befriending more demons while in the demon world, though sadly, one of them died due to the world's air being harmful to many demons. Wanting to save the rest of his friends from such a fate, he had found a way to open portals to the human world. This leads him to help bring the friendly demons to the human world so that they may live in peace. However, one day, after bringing one of many groups of demons he helped to the human world, they were caught by Darkcom. Although White Rabbit tries to talk down the demon hunters, a giant demon emerges from the portal he had passed through, causing Darkcom to kill all the demons and severely injure him. This leads him down a path of vengeance towards Darkcom, swearing revenge on them while also planning to open the gate between the human world and the demon world to allow the demons to cross into the human world freely. Now, despite the sympathetic origin he was given, the White Rabbit wasn't meant to be a sympathetic villain, since he is shown to experiment on the people he was formerly trying to save. My problem with the White Rabbit is that his origin story reinforces the show's stupid message. It tries showing that if Darkcom wasn't so prejudiced against demons, then the White Rabbit wouldn't exist in the first place. Look, I'm sorry I keep repeating myself, I don't like doing that either, but I honestly want to know the answer to this question. What was the thought process of trying to make the demons as sympathetic characters? The whole appeal of Sparta and other demons like him is that they are the 1% of their kind that are able to give up their way of thinking and embrace love. Having the majority of demons not be evil by nature and already having the capacity to love and care for someone aside from themselves completely undermines the franchise's message as a whole. Heck, the writers for the only true Devil May Cry anime understood that and even made a well-written episode about a sympathetic demon. So just some quick context before I talk about that episode. In 2005, anime studio Madhouse had produced a canonical anime adaptation of Devil May Cry. The series takes place between the events of Devil May Cry 1 and 2, and although it's not as action-heavy as Netflix's DMC series, Madhouse's DMC series had a better understanding of the franchise's characters and its overarching theme. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about that episode of the Devil May Cry anime with a sympathetic demon, Episode 3, Not Love. In order to afford a new TV for the kiddies looking after Patty, Dante takes a job from his broker Morrison. The job is given by a mayor of a city called Capulet City named Mike Hagel, who is requesting for Dante to kill a man named Bradley. He became aware of Bradley after finding out his daughter Angelina had been going out with him. Mike believes that Bradley is the culprit of a string of murders after seeing him revive a dead flower, proving that Bradley is a demon. Angelina overhears her father's plans to kill Bradley and rushes over to him so that they can run away together. After hearing her reasoning for wanting to run away from home, Bradley denies her request, not wanting her to get wrapped up in the things he's involved in. While Bradley is on a walk, Dante tails him to an alley and finds the true culprit of the murders, which turns out to be another demon. Dante injures the demon, causing it to retreat, leaving the demon hunter alone with Bradley. Revealing that he's truly a demon, Bradley is held at gunpoint by Dante, ready to shoot him at a moment's notice. After showing no intent of running or fighting, and showing an interest in love by asking Dante if his mom and dad truly loved each other despite his dad being a demon and his mom being a human, Dante spares Bradley and kills the other demon instead. Moving to a different location, Bradley reveals to Dante that he was summoned by a human to prepare for the arrival of Bradley's master, Belphegor. Dante questions why Bradley would tell him this, and Bradley reveals it's because he wants Dante to stop Belphegor due to him coming to love the human world and Angelina. Back at Mike's house, Angelina finds her father on the floor bleeding over a pentagram, causing her to rush over to him. While she's distracted, Mike's butler holds her at knife point and reveals that he had been the one to summon Bradley so that Belphegor could appear and destroy the human world. Just as he's about to kill Angelina, Dante appears and stops him in time, with Bradley following not too far behind. As it turns out, they had come too late as Belphegor is summoned into the human world thanks to the ritual being complete. Luckily for them, Dante is much stronger than Belphegor, quickly sealing him back into the underworld in no time flat. Despite Mike showing a clear dislike for him, Bradley heals his wound because he doesn't want Angelina to be sad. On Dante's way out, he tells the mayor that he doesn't plan on killing Bradley because he only kills demons, and after everything that Bradley's done, Dante views him as a human. The episode ends with Dante not taking the cash from the job and it being revealed that Bradley had earned Mike's approval, leaving Dante happy despite not earning any cash. Now, unlike Netflix's Devil May Cry, the Devil May Cry anime does a good job of creating a sympathetic demon because Bradley wasn't written in a way that goes against the franchise's message. Heck, he actually enforces that message. Despite being a demon and serving a stronger demon who wants to destroy the world, Bradley was able to fight against his own nature and came to love Angelina. All Bradley wanted was to do what was best for Angelina, whether that meant having to stay away from her to keep her safe, or reviving her dying father despite her father having forbidden her from seeing Bradley previously. He could have let her father die so that Angelina wouldn't have been forbidden from seeing him, but Bradley didn't. He would have been guaranteed to have Angelina by his side forever with no one to stop him, but he still revived Mike anyways, and it was all for the sake of Angelina's happiness. This wouldn't be as impactful if, like in Netflix's Devil May Cry, a majority of demons were capable of love and Bradley just so happened to be one of those demons. It would completely strip away what makes Bradley's character so interesting. I just don't understand why the writers and the showrunner don't see that what they're doing goes against the theme of the franchise. It's like they've never actually played the games, or if they did, they only liked them because of their aesthetics. Oh wait, no, now that I say it out loud, that actually kind of makes sense. All in all, if you're someone who's never played the Devil May Cry games and you were planning on watching the Netflix show, I would recommend you play the games first. All you'll get from watching the show is a misrepresentation of what the Devil May Cry franchise is all about. Besides, the Devil May Cry games are some of the best action games out there with combat that is difficult yet incredibly fun to master. Well, except for Devil May Cry 2, but the less we talk about that game, the better. You know, despite how much I dislike the show, I will give Netflix's Devil May Cry credit for something. It made me want to replay Devil May Cry 3 to remind myself how good Devil May Cry can actually be. So for that, I thank you Netflix's Devil May Cry. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video and you want to show support, like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter and Odyssey. We're over halfway to 10,000 subscribers, so any and all support is greatly appreciated. Have a good night guys, and until next time, lights out.